You're listening to the Big B Story podcast with writer-director Hugh Campbell and producer Roberta McIntyre. Hugh and Roberta take you behind the scenes and explore the deeper meaning behind their woman-driven film, Catch of the Day.
Hey, Roberta. How's it going?
Hey, Hugh. Good to see you back in the studio for another podcast.
Yeah, and this time, actually back to another member of our team.
Right, which is kind of cool. Our costumer, Jeannie Tyrell. She's one of the many people that is the unsung heroes in filmmaking. I think many of us take it for granted what goes into the creation of a wardrobe for a character.
That's true, and I thought it was interesting how you would think she would talk about specific wardrobe.
Right.
I mean, there was some discussion of specific items, but first, her process is about understanding and absorbing the character to find out what are the choices that type person makes.
Yeah, that what we wear and how we look is an expression of ourselves, whether it's that you have a lot of tattoos or how you wear your hair or the clothes you wear, whatever.
Right. Even the fishermen who are just out of necessity wearing flannel or whatever because it's cold and it's wet, or they have their rubber things when they're fishing. There's blood, there's guts. And yet there's still choice. There's still self-expression. Anyway, I think this conversation is really fascinating.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's listen to what Jeannie has to say about wardrobe and costume. How are you, Jeannie?
I'm great, Roberta. How are you?
I'm good. Tell us how you got into costuming and why you do it.
Well, I don't want to say I fell into it, but I was originally a journalism major, and I was studying journalism, and I covered the theater arts department at the school I was at the time, and I actually fell in love with the process. I followed a whole production, and I interviewed, the stage designer, one of the directors, and I interviewed the costume designer. What I learned from journalism in terms of storytelling, like I didn't necessarily make the connection at the time, but then theater arts and films, for me, it's like a fusion of the two crafts.
You're an award-winning costumer, right?
Yeah, I won twice for an organization called the KCACTF. It's a festival, a theater arts festival that the Kennedy Center puts on. And two of my designs were recognized through that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're glad to have you on board our crew.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be a part of it.
Let's talk about how you go about selecting a costume for a particular character. What do you look for? How do you do that? It's a lot more complicated than people imagine.
Definitely. A lot of thought goes into it. When you get the design opportunity, it's kind of something you swim in for a while. And when I read the script, you're literally kind of dive into the mentality of each character based off of what you've read and discussions you have with the director or even the writer, if you have the opportunity. And some productions have a lot of characters, but you can't be lazy with it. It's 100% for each one. Once I start boiling down each individual character, I kind of think about what they put on when they wake up in the morning. I try and actually go through those thoughts. What are their choices? What are they, how do they go about their day? And then what is initially what they put on? And if you want me to talk specifically about Chris and the choices I made with Chris, I'm happy to do that.
Sure, let's jump into that.
I thought about her choices in terms of which lifestyle she's entering, whether she has armor to wear or not. When she's in Pine Cove, she has the opportunity to be more relaxed. I don't know if she's necessarily going to be more relaxed, but she does have, maybe it's innate within her to be just kind of in more relaxed clothing. And then when she is in the concrete jungles of San Francisco, she will be a lot more, not rigid, but her clothing in terms will be more sharp and more expensive.
Yeah, and I love the term you use, armor, when she gets up in the morning and puts her armor on, I was talking with writer-director Hugh. He used the term uniform.
Right.
And we all wear our uniforms,
Definitely.
So tell us about some of the clothes you chose.
I went with some pretty, even for her boss, Regina, I made some very expensive choices. I think I even looked at some Chanel suits. And
yeah, and I did notice that when I was putting the budget together. We get that Regina's very high end and that's her world. She's in command of her world. But Chris, she's not quite like Regina.
That's something I picked up on too. I didn't make their outfits quite the same because she is still in between whether or not she wants to be like Regina or the girl back home kind of thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And then I loved your Eddie Bauer choices for the Pine Cove Chris. What about Lucy, Chris's daughter? How do you see her wardrobe filling out?
What I liked specifically about the character is she has questions, but when it comes to decisions she's made, she's very concrete with those decisions. It's just,
this is me.
This is her.
This is
she has questions about herself, but she knows enough to where she doesn't really give it too much thought. Her clothing is the last thing on her mind.
Yeah.
But it's just a natural thing for her to just make choices and then be done with it.
And her accessories, the character's accessories, those are important too.
Well, but particularly one accessory I discussed with Hugh is her necklace.
Yes.
And that's more sentimental because it's an heirloom. So her connection with her grandmother.
That's an interesting point. How much do you think it helps the actor to get in character?
From my experience, a lot of actors I've worked with, the costume choices are very important. That's when you kind of go down the rabbit hole a little bit because you have a back and forth. I would actually attend a lot of the run-throughs and a lot of the rehearsals. That was kind of what I needed to kind of get my mind into it. Mm-hmm. So even when I had costume fittings, I would be speaking to the actor about their choices. Not really to take their choices, but just to kind of reference them and understand where the actor is in terms of the choices that the character makes. And then I would, take my notes and go away for a little while. You do your homework and you come up with something and then you come back, talk about it, and you make changes, cuts or no cuts, or don't develop. Then you formulate, you go shopping basically, right. And you formulate your list and you have your list but ultimately you're all paying justice to the script and the vision of the director.
So what I'm hearing you saying is it's very important that the costumer and hair and makeup are inclusive to get your complete picture.
Right. So it all kind of boils down to the collaboration for sure. But I know from my, as I've been growing as a designer, my process has been I need to watch the rehearsals. I kind of need to submerge myself.
So then how do you decide what projects you work on?
I'm just very particular about where I put my energy. As I'm coming into my own kind of awareness, I am applying it to my design. And so when I read the script, it actually kind of helped me understand that a little more.
Can you elaborate on that?
I think because the last design that I did, The Little Mermaid, I had one of the biggest struggles. I didn't want to design the copyrighted image. I wanted to kind of dig deeper. And I ended up with a lot of questions. Not doubt by my design choices. I totally love my design choices, but I kind of was like, what am I doing? Designing is what I came from after doing The Little Mermaid. So then when I read the script, Catch of the Day, it kind of answered whatever questions I had when I came out of The Little Mermaid. Kind of like, here you have a character that's supposedly finding her voice. But if you were to compare The Little Mermaid to Lucy, and I feel like right now in society, like women right now are standing up for their voice.
Yes.
And it's a time where there's more Lucies that I feel than this copyrighted mermaid. And I picked this project to give voice for the Lucies.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's cool. I love that. Yeah, that's I think where we all are with this project. We're doing it out of passion.
That's something too I think about whenever I pick this script up back in my mind, and I think, oh my God, just those moments. I want people to feel those moments too,
Yeah.
Like it's really just the importance of food, and like even right now I feel just breaking bread with other humans is so needed right now. And I feel like there's a lot of elements in the film that is very needed right now in our society. We need a film like this to kind of just make us look at even like what we're putting in our plate, the way we're treating each other. All those things right now is very important.
Yeah, totally nailed it. Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Can't wait to get this thing going.
Thank you so much for, including me on the project. I'm very excited.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Big B Story podcast. To learn more and receive updates, visit the Catch of the Day website at catchofthedaymovie.com.